The verse of the day is Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 to 11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the seventh day and hallowed it. Hi guys, welcome back to My Divine Intentionality. It is me, Tejo, and today we're going to talk about when is your Sabbath. By this I mean, when is the day that you rest? When's the day in the week where you fully just rest and live in, the Lord's presence? I'm starting to feel like they wait for me to record, because this is ridiculous now. But anyways, when is the day that you choose to literally just spend the day with the Lord? For me, that's Sunday. But also just because on Sunday I go to church, like mass, and then right afterwards I feel tired. So maybe it's because I'm kind of forced to rest on that day. But like, I don't do anything on Sunday. I rarely am on social media on a Sunday. And if I am, it's because I feel like I had a message to share, or I was convicted at mass and I felt the need to share. So yeah, Sunday is mostly me sleeping and having read Exodus, because I didn't even know that's the commandment in full. I just knew to keep the Sabbath day holy. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm intrigued. Yeah. I'm a lot, but this is gonna be an interesting topic. So, there's a quote I heard that I just want to share, and it's, I'd rather work 6 days with you, being God, than 7 days without you. I feel like we're in a culture where time just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Like, there's no time for resting. It's a hustle culture that grinds, and doesn't talk about rest enough, because you're rest, you're rest when you're dead. And it's like, then why do you have this life if you're not going to enjoy it and slow down and think about what's going on, So, yeah, that's a quote that like really hit me, because I really would much rather do 6 days with the Lord than 7 days without him. Because that extra day, like that day to just reset and rethink everything, and just like reflect on how the week has gone, and then think about how the week's gonna come, like, I feel like a day where you just woosa and calm down and just take everything in is very much needed. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. So then the last verse that I'm going to read is Matthew 11:28, and that is, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So when the Lord gave me the question of when do I rest, I was obviously like, duh, Lord, on Sunday. And I had to really think about it and consider the fact that I don't rest, because even though I'm physically resting, my mind is still going. And obviously now, if my mind is going and most of my thoughts aren't even God related, I can understand why he feels I'm not resting. When I think about rest now as compared to a year ago, rest now for me is resting in his presence, resting on his bosom, like a sheep to his shepherd. Yeah, a sheep to its shepherd. So I never think about rest as a means of how do I don't even know. I don't think about doing something on my rest day. Like whenever my family's like, okay, we're gonna go out on my rest day, it's like, okay, let's do it. But in all honesty, I just want to sit, read my Bible. Like rest days, like in a week where I haven't been reading my word daily, I'll use my rest day to catch up. On days where, just like, I don't know, it's my reset day, and which is kind of ironic because I'm at home every day, and I feel like people would feel like because I'm home every day, I'm basically resting every day. But maintaining a house is hard work. Listen, shout out to all the housewives, but the stay-at-home moms, like, wow, maintaining a house is hard work. And I can understand why, like, it's an attribute that's added to the Proverbs 31 woman. And it wasn't even until my mom let me know, like, at least this year, you're learning how to take care of people, because literally all my life I had been taken care of. So it wasn't until she said that where I realized that, oh, that's what the Lord's teaching me. Because the Lord gave me a word of the year, and I literally have been seeing the progress of it. And yeah, I just want to talk about being still and allowing the Lord to work around you. I'm not going to talk about a waiting season or an isolation season, because I don't know that. I mean, I'm physically alone, but I don't feel isolated because I'm always with the Holy Spirit. So I can't even say, oh, I'm in an isolation season. I still have most of my friends. I still, I'm chilling. I've made new friends, so I'm just chilling. But in regards to a waiting season, I did have to wait for like 6 months, the first 6 months of the year, because I was at varsity last year and I came back home because my marks weren't enough, because my mental health wasn't okay. And because of that led to me then being at home. And whilst I was at home, I was like, what am I going to do at home? And yeah, I then decided to just upgrade my matric marks. I wanted to upgrade my physics marks, but then the Lord said, okay, well, add on life science. I added life science on, and lo and behold, the subject that the Lord told me to add on is the one I improved on most. Why couldn't you have just said, no, just focus on life science? And I would have done that. I wouldn't have wasted my freaking time on physics. But it is what it is. I improved in both. I'm happy, thankful to God. But even in that, in being a matriculant again, because the first time around I had a panic attack. I wasn't good. I wasn't happy. I still cried the 6 months. I still cried. I was still scared. I was still very scared that what if I don't improve my marks and I'm now stuck at home again next year. That was a big fear of mine. And I'm going back to varsity next year. But I had to wait on the Lord and see where He's taking me. And even in that whole 6 months, it wasn't the redo that was my most impactful and most teaching area. The part that really taught me was the trips to my tutoring lessons. I really enjoyed the car trips there. I met amazing Uber drivers. I had amazing conversations with them. Some which I didn't even want to have, but because I had them, they were amazing. Like my alone time with the Lord, because I'm in a home that isn't really Christian, where people aren't really that close to God. It's more of a casual situation. So trying to be relational and intentional with the Lord in a home that isn't intentional about the Lord was kind of tough, because I feel like everyone felt like I was making them see what they're not doing. So for me, it felt suffocating. But then when I would leave to like a lesson, I would just listen to music, basically just Sunday. I would just listen to my music. Before my lesson, I would just chill out and just converse with the Lord. And in that time period, in those 6 months, my Sundays weren't necessarily my Sabbath, but my days where I was going to tutoring, those car rides were my rest. Those drives to and from were my rest. Like whenever I would leave the home, I feel like I would feel more at ease, which is something I've worked on because, therapy and God. But yeah, you can find rest in the smallest of things, whether it's you listening to worship on your way to work and then on the way back home, or literally just cleaning your house and feeling like, I've decluttered the house. Because for me, my mental state shows in the state of my room, home, whatever. If I'm not okay, you'll see in my room because it'll be a mess, because it's not usually a mess. So yeah, I need decluttering, and whenever I clean up my space, I feel like my mental health is a lot better because I can see where everything is. It's not just everything piled up on each other. And resting in the Lord is trusting Him. And I know it's hard to trust when you've had earthly relationships that have been horrible and haven't helped you in any way. So I can totally understand why it would be hard to depend on the Lord. But this is the one relationship I would highly recommend you be codependent on, because you're being codependent on the Creator, on your Father, on your Abba, on your best friend, on your brother, on your, you're being dependent on someone that'll never want anything bad for you. You're being dependent on someone that loves you wholeheartedly. And when you get to a point where all you want to do is be in the presence of God, like you never want to be in the presence of God, it makes making decisions easier. For me, I wanted to be a doctor all my life. That's what I remember wanting to be. And it wasn't until the Lord was like, okay, because the way I wanted it so much, I had idolized it. I don't know how, why, when, but I had idolized medicine. And the Lord had to say, okay, you're going to have to put on the altar and let it go. And then I will decide if I'm the one that wants you to be in there to do work for you. So the Lord then placed me in an adjacent, from what I see, in an adjacent degree to medicine. And I feel a lot of peace right now. I don't even know if I had gotten into medicine, which I know I could have gotten into medicine. I think it was more of a thing of, can I even get into medicine? I know that I could be doing medicine actually right now, not even just next year. I could be doing medicine right now. But when I was offered up that medicine opportunity, I feel like the Lord was like, what are you going to do? Because you said you left it at the altar, so did you? And I was excited for a bit, but I didn't feel God in it. So then I had to, take a step back and think about it and be like, this doesn't feel right. So right after that, I then got my degree that the Lord wants me to do, which aligns with something He had said to me, a word He had spoken over me earlier on in the year. So then that also just, made it easier for me to accept the offer. So, yeah, finding rest in the Lord is it is the best thing. Like finding peace in knowing that what you're doing will make the Lord happy and help a lot of people. There's nothing like it. For example, my divine intentionality, my TikTok for this account, I would have never expected that, first of all. But like when the Lord takes care, thank you, Holy Spirit, when the Lord takes care of His project and allows you to enjoy the process of being in His project, there's nothing like it. I'll elaborate. I love taking content for you guys. I get stressed when I have to transfer everything from camera to laptop to drive to phone so that I can edit on my phone, because my laptop acts up. And once I've recorded, once I've posted, I'm just like, Lord, do your thing. And he does his thing, and then it's like, oh, that's interesting. So when the Lord does his thing, and he does his thing, like he does his big one, there's nothing more, like it's the most like stressless. Like I don't have stress at anything. I don't have to stress about knowing the algorithm, because I know the God's in control of his baby. Do you get what I mean? Like I know he's gonna supply, but it is stressful when I have to get the content from one place to another, because that's the one thing I can control, But I have been noticing, like when I pray over him doing something, it'll work like smoothly. So I'm working on including him in every part of the process that comes to getting the content to you guys. So yeah, man. Waiting on the Lord isn't the easiest, but it's not the hardest thing either. You just literally have to trust the Lord, and I know that's easier said than done. But there's a lot of things that we're holding on to that the Lord never even wanted us to have or to do in the first place. So then you have to then ask yourself, so Lord, what do you want me to do? So I'll explain that in the next part of the video. And yeah, when are you resting? When's the day where you're just like, okay, Lord, it's me and you now. Where do you even have a secret place? Do you talk to the Lord every day? My mom literally said to me yesterday, I can't hear God the way you hear God. And that's true. You don't have to. God speaks to us in different ways, in ways very much unique to us. So we then have to ask the Lord to speak to us or to show us how he can talk to us. You can't expect to speak to a stranger and then hear their whole life story. You have to get to know the stranger so that they can be comfortable enough to tell you their whole life story. So yeah, when are you resting? And you even know how to rest properly? If you don't, probably Google it, or maybe a therapist will tell you. I don't know. I'm not a guru in resting, but what I do know is how to rest in the Lord. This second and last part of the video is on figuring out what the Lord wants you to do, and then once you know it, identifying if he really wants you to do it or not. First of all, I'm going to speak from personal experience. I'm not going to say I know for a fact. I'm not going to, take this with a grain of salt. But this is what has helped me make big or small decisions in regards to whether God is telling me. So first of all, you don't ever want to do it. It's never something you would tell yourself you want to do. It's literally left-handed. You would have never thought yourself to do that. That's usually the Lord, because the Lord doesn't feed what you want, what you need, what you feel qualified for. He feeds where he wants you to be, how he created you to be, and what he sees you being. So if you are being put in a leadership role and you feel like, I got this, that's probably you. I don't want to lie to you. That's probably you wanting to do that. But you're putting God in it because I'm a leader and the Lord wants me to lead his people. First of all, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. But and then second of all, he'll put it on your heart. It won't be something that stays up here. If it's something that stays up here, that's probably the devil or you. It'll be something that can't leave. Like it's like stuck. Like you can't shake it off. It's sort of like you gotta do it. And if you don't, shout out. And that leads to my third point is you won't feel like you have to do it. You'll feel like you have a choice, like you can pick between this and something else. It won't feel like, if I don't do this, I'll miss out. It'll feel like, I okay, I mean, I could do that or I could do something else. Do you know what I mean? It won't feel like if I don't do this, my world will end. It's not world ending. It's a choice. It's not a suggestion though. It's like a command. But if you don't do it, it's not like you're gonna die or anything, or you're gonna lose out on your life, or your world's gonna, it's not world ending. So yeah, the Lord tends to give us something we're really uncomfortable with. What's the saying I've been hearing? Oh, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called, or something like that. And that is so true. There's a lot of the positions where the Lord put me that I didn't feel qualified in, that I ended up flourishing in because, first of all, I relied on Him. Even though I wasn't that close to the Lord, as close as I am now, I relied on the Lord a lot because I have a Catholic background. So I knew that God is there and He's there if we need Him. So whenever I would say, Jesus, take the wheel, and I would mean it. I wouldn't just be saying, Jesus, take the wheel. I would mean it. And towards my meeting God moment, my meet cute with God, which wasn't cute at 2 a.m., but towards then, I wasn't depending on the Lord. I wasn't asking the Lord for help. I felt I'm a girl boss and I could do this. Whereas I'm not a girl boss. I'm a princess. I'm gentle. I am meant to have, I'm a serving princess. I was about to say I'm meant to be served, but that's wrong. I'm a serving princess. I'm here to serve, not to be served. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm a princess. I shouldn't be putting everything on myself. If anything, I should be putting it on my dad. So, So yeah, trusting the Lord and deciphering. I don't know what's going on in my tongue today. But deciphering whether it's of God is usually you don't feel qualified to do it. You don't want to do it most of the time. And it's something you would have never thought of doing for yourself. So yeah, and it's not really a hard thing. Once you're in it, once you just say, okay, Lord, do your thing, 21, and He does His thing, 21, it's just gonna be the most amazing thing. So then your job is literally just to do it properly and to make sure that you're not mishandling this gift, this talent that the Lord has given you, this opportunity that the Lord has given you. Because don't now take everything that feels good and think it's God. It's most probably not. So think through everything. Take a season of prayer and fasting, and seeing how everything works. Everything ultimately works for your good. Let's say you choose not to listen to the Lord. He will, however, use whatever you're choosing over what His will for you to work for His good, to glorify Him. So that's why I'm saying that it's not world ending, because God's gonna work it for your good somehow. He's gonna help you fix this thing. However, if you choose to do something, you choose to. It's not like you fell upon it. You chose to do the wrong thing. I do want you to know that you have to carry on without God and not think that you can bring God into it. That ain't gonna work, because then that's when you'll lose it. That's when you get into a relationship and you feel like, thank you, Holy Spirit, you're spitting. You get into a relationship and you feel like, let me pray for him. And then God says, break up with him. And you're like, that is not God. That is not God. But it is God, because you approached this person outside of God and then thought you could just bring God into it. It don't work like that. You create a business that the Lord never wanted for you in the first place. Yet here you are with the business. And then you say, God, do whatever. And he's like, okay, leave that business. I have something else for you. And you're like, I know that ain't God. It is God. Anything that you do outside of God, you have to stay outside of God to keep it, to maintain it. And you can never halfway through doing something think that you can just bring God into it, because that's a bold-faced lie. And I don't know why you're lying to yourself. the devil already lies to you a lie. I don't know why you would feel that you now have to lie to yourself. So yeah, the Lord works in mysterious ways. But like for real, the Lord works in ways that only He understands, and then things that we only understand later on once we've done it and we're like, oh, that's why I had to do that. So working with the Lord, alongside the Lord, is literally just obeying. In Genesis, literally, God blesses Abraham's descendants because of Abraham's obedience, not because Abraham was his favorite or anything like that. Moses was able to do the things he did because of his obedience to God. Jesus did whatever he had to do because of his obedience to God. So this walk with God, this finding rest in God, this getting this peace from the Lord that He says He'll give us when we just rest in Him, doesn't come out of you doing stuff and then God doing it with you. It's you leaving it to God, you doing your part, obviously, to like steward it. Or you can't be like, Lord, give me an opportunity. I mean, sometimes He do be giving you opportunities out of nowhere with no application or anything like that. But Lord, give me an application, but then you sit at home, not applying to jobs, not doing like learning new skills, not refining the skills you already have. You can't be like, Lord, bring me my husband, but when you're chilling at home, you're a homebody, you're not doing anything, you're asking the Lord for longevity, long life, but you're eating junk every day, not getting fit, not keeping yourself fit. And the Lord brought this to me the other day, that people don't understand what fitness is. The Lord made us different body types for a reason, but it doesn't help for you to have a curvaceous body and then be unfit in it and then still be like, but I'm sexy. Okay, what's the goal? Is the goal to be sexy, or is the goal to be fit so that you can do the job that God wants you to do? Ooh, the Holy Spirit just brought this to me. This ain't me. How can you expect to want to be a mother when being a mother is a lot of work? You can't be unfit, expect to be a mom, but then not be in the best condition that you could have been in. This is a touchy subject, a subject I don't even know about. So this is going to hit somebody, I'm hoping. But you have to understand that you can't want something but then not be ready or in the state to receive whatever it is that you want. You can't want a job but then not be job ready. What do I mean by that? You can't say, oh, I want to be a leader in my school, but then you are misbehaving in class. You aren't helping any of the student body right now, which is the student body that's going to vote for you to be in power. You can't want something and then not be ready for that something, because when you get that something, you're going to mishandle it, feel like it's too much, then blame God for putting you in a situation that you pray for. Dang. Shout out. But, be still and know that He is God. Be still. Be in your secret place. Find God. Talk to God. Ask God. Complain to God. Shout at God. Cry to God. Do everything as long as you're doing it with, to, or from God. Like literally, you will find rest from the Lord when you rest in the Lord. Say less. I'm done. That's the video right there. That is the video right there. But honestly speaking, learn the Lord. Just learn God. He already knows you. Learn the Lord. Figure Him out. Because this is literally something I spoke about yesterday. You know what you want. But do you know what the Lord wants for you? You feel like you're stagnant and in a place where you don't want to be at. How about you ask the Lord where He wants you to be at? Because, He knows the plans for you. How about asking the source? How about involving the maker of your life? The planner of your life. How about you involve your dad for counsel and you ask him, Papa G, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to be right now? How do I stay still? How do I rest in you? Ask questions. You may not get all the answers, But you will get answers, and the Lord will help you. He'll send people to help you out. He'll send... guys. There's so much. The Lord always wants to help. You just need to want that help first. Because if you get help that you don't want, you're not going to take the advice. I know this because I be giving advice to my friends all the time, and they don't listen to it until they want to listen to it. You know? So, just how do you rest? Rest, like calm down. Defrost. Because if you're doing too much, you're doing too much. If the Lord himself felt that he needed to rest after he had done everything he had done, rest on that. So when is your Sabbath? Your Sabbath doesn't have to be a Sunday. It could be your work schedule is, just one day in the 7 days of the week. It can be a Monday, it could be a Tuesday, it could be a Wednesday, it could be a Thursday, it could be a Friday, it could be a Saturday, it could be a Sunday. It could be any day of the week. Any day of the week. You just then have to speak to yourself and speak to the Lord. Because the Lord takes anything you do as worship. Breathing is worship. I had gotten into a routine with the Lord where I would meet him at 4 a.m. and I would watch sermons that he had recommended to me. And as of recently, my baby sister's scared of the dark. So whenever my mom leaves for running in the morning, she gets scared. So I then have to leave my room to go to my mom's room to sleep with my baby sister until, the day starts at like 6 a.m., whatever. And there was a time at 4 a.m. where I was like, Lord, this is annoying because I want to spend time with you, but I can't even do that. Like, I can't worship you the way that we should. And the Lord had to say to me, and this gave me a lot of peace, this is worship. You doing for your baby sister is worship. Now do it with a joyful heart. And I did. I started doing it with a joyful heart, and it's not hard to get up and help her out. And I feel the Lord with me whenever I, transfer rooms. So yes, it ruined my routine that I had assumed is, what the Lord wants me to do, but just literally doing anything for everyone else, not everyone else, but like for others, is a way of worship and showing the God within you. And give yourself grace. And a lot of people are watching you, by the way. You could be helping a lot of people just by being you and owning up to your mistakes, using your testimony to help others. A lot of my friends whom I didn't even think were watching noticed a change in me and were like, oh, let me try that out. And, now they're trying it out. So hopefully praying to God every day for them that it works out for them the same way it worked out for me. So, yeah, man. Be you. Figure it out. There's no need to grind like these ninjas next door that are always freaking working when I'm recording. And they were literally quiet before I recorded. So, but take rest, relax. Rest doesn't mean drink, because then you're living sobriety, and sobriety is how you need to be when you address the Lord. You need to be in your right state of mind. So it isn't smoking and then listening to worship and thinking that's gonna work. No, it is being sober and just spending the day with the Lord, because you need to be of a sober mind, of an open heart, and of a receptive soul to really engage with the Lord. So yeah, guys, I don't feel like there's any more I could say. If there's any more I could say, it'll probably be in another video. But rest, relax. Not to new age, but relax. Rest in the Lord. Give your burdens to him and let him give you rest, because there's nothing like the peace that comes with trusting in the Lord. The minute you feel unrest about something, you probably haven't submitted it to the Lord. So submit. Be a terror, you know. Do it in the tears. You see, if you read your Bible, you'll get what I'm saying. But rest, relax. You got this. Spend 6 days. Spend all 7 days with the Lord, but work 6 days. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm really annoyed about this building thing, but it is what it is. I hope it wasn't too distracting. But yeah, I love you guys, and the Lord loves you guys. See you next time.